This is Rick Foster. I'm a product manager in Rainbird's Azusa, California office. My responsibility is primarily Dripline, but my focus in general is drip irrigation, and spend a lot of time developing new products, including the one we're going to talk about today, the new XFS-CV Dripline. Matt, I'll have you introduce yourself and kick us off.
Thanks, Rick. My name is Matt Griffin. I'm your regional product sales manager for anything to do with Rainbird Drip. I was formerly in the Orange County area, but have recently taken over the entire Southern California area. So everywhere there is an Imperial, there should be my business card, and I'd be more than happy to help you all out. So as we're going in, why is this landscape drip? Some started with a fad, some thought it was just the cash for grass deal. Why are we pushing landscape drip? Why is a company like Rainbird investing in this? Well, the main focus, it all started out with the conservation and a better way to manage your water. As you guys are all in the field, whether you're a maintenance, a landscape architect, or a installing contractor, water is the main resource, and getting it where it's supposed to be with new regulations, whether it be overspray on hardscapes or just the amount of money per unit of water can greatly make or break your job site. Going into each job site, this also reduces the liability because you're putting the water where it's supposed to be, whether it be a car dealership that you don't have water running all over the place, or a structure such as a nice hotel with expensive rock or electrical lines or lighting. This is not, landscape drip puts it right where it's supposed to be, at the basis of the plant material, giving the plant material the best way to be established and have a prolonged life. But it, in those tight spots, whether it be a center median in a roadway, or like I said, sidewalks next to a playground, this gives you the way to curved irrigation for those small places. And most of all, what all of us partake in is it's the most efficient way to use labor. You're not going to have to worry about trenching down 16 to 24 inches and installing lateral lines and everything else. We give you the ability to install a efficient system using best water management practices for less amount of labor. So what kind of products do we have? We have a plethora of products. I mean, we can run through all sorts of products from the emitter bugs to the root watering systems. These are all in the landscape catalog provided by Rainbird. If you do not have one, please take down my email or send Mike an email, and we'll make sure you all have one of these. But I'm not going to go over every single one of these just because of the time constraints. But the biggest thing that I want to give you guys is the ability to get a general consensus on how to estimate and bid a job. While each job is different, there's no sure science way that, hey, I have this much, this is what I need, this is what is going on. There are ways to kind of become the established contractor and have your ways and just kind of make a few adjustments as we go. So I want to make myself available to you all. So if you have a job that you have in question, please feel free to take down my contact information. I will help you bid it and estimate it. Rainbird gives you tools online. We actually have a drip calculator that will literally give you the ability to go ahead and give your square footage, the plant material, the soil type, and it'll tell you the exact linear footage that you'll need, the amount of header that you'll need, and the gallons, the GPHs for the gallons per hour for the drip, as well as the emitter spacing. So that will really kind of fine tune your material takeoffs going forward on each job. Now, this is a typical layout. So we all start with our main line into our control zone kit, moving into our header, moving into the linear footage of our drip line, and the parameters that go with it depending on the application that you're applying it to. Now, the sure science way, there is no way to say, hey, it's only going to cost you $1,500 here, it's only going to cost you $1,400 there. But there are ways to help you guys bid and estimate a job if you're on a subsurface application. So, or on-grade application for that matter. The nice thing that Rainbird has done is we have, when Rick will go into this, we have created an all-in-one drip line that doesn't matter if you're on grade, on the slope, or subsurface. We now give you the ability to buy one model drip line that can be applied in any form of application for landscape. Now, as a former contractor, that sounds great because I just put one roll in my truck. I know that depending on what the water zone for the plant is, I now have one roll that does all the jobs that I need, whether it be on the slope, subsurface, or on grade. Now, in every single piece of a drip system, you're always going to start with your control zone kit. You're going to have it's crucial to have a strong valve with a filter and a pressure regulator built into that. Now, we provide an actual kit, so you don't have to piece those together. So when you're bidding and estimating a job, maybe you're charging $350 for a valve install. But now we are giving you the ability in an all-in-one package where you don't have to part this together. So again, feel free to contact me on the side. I'd be more than happy to help you guys bid this out. But that was one way to help you all out. Now, this diagram shows a PVC header. The header is the supply header that distributes the water through the linear footage of the drip line. Now, as you all know, it's a pain to get PVC, cut it, do your spacing, glue it. We actually take that process out. We have a way to roll out in 50 or 100 rolls prefabbed header. So what that is it's literally a 3/4 or 1-inch header that can be on grade or subsurface with 12-inch or 18-inch emitter spacing that are already installed in the header. So you have no cutting, no measuring, no gluing. We also have fittings that fit in those. But again, take my info down. I'll be more than happy to send you each model number and tech spec to go with it. And each of that, what that will do is instead of spending 45 minutes to an hour building an 8-foot header, you can literally roll it out, staple it as the rest of your drip line. It's a huge labor savings and something that you could really work to your advantage with your client to put a little bit of extra money in your guys' pocket and get the a less stress-pointed header down on your job site and know that you have the Rainbird warranty to go with it. The two large other factors on this are the flush valve and the air relief valve. Now, the flush valve is always a must. You always need to put that at the lowest point of your drip line to make sure that you can get everything going out of that drip line after the install. The next one is an air relief valve. Now, to your guys' advantage, the product that we have just come out with can eliminate that air relief valve. Now, why is that important? Now, even though it's a pennies on the dollar piece, it's crucial to know that where your water is going, it can be controlled with the drip line that Rick will go ahead and move and talk about.
All right, great. Thanks, Matt. And yeah, you know, what we're all about at Rainbird is not only developing products that are the most efficient with water use, you know, kind of high technology products, but we also spend a lot of time thinking about how is this product going to be installed? How can we make it an easier installation experience? Matt mentioned this QF header. We'll come back to that briefly a little bit later, but I just want you to know that we keep that in mind as we develop these products, and you'll see that we hopefully delivered on that promise too with this new product that I'll tell you about. This current slide shows you exactly where we are today, the various drip line products that we offer today. XFD, there's 3 different ones. XFD, XF, by the way, for extra flexible, D for drip line. That was our first product. It's been out for a long time. As you probably know, it's really used for on-surface applications. Definitely pressure compensating, but really made for on-surface and typically flat surfaces. There's no check valve in this drip line, for example. The second product that we introduced was XFS-CV. This is CV for check valve. Every emitter in the drip line has a check valve. Again, it's made for on-surface applications. It doesn't have any root intrusion protection mechanism that we'll talk about a little bit later. And then finally, we introduced the third product family, XFS, S for subsurface. This drip line, as the image shows, was designed and made for subsurface applications. Each emitter has what we call the copper shield technology that protects the emitter from root intrusion. So that's where we are today. But we great, I'm glad to be here, and thank you, Mike, for allowing us to share this good news with you. We launched a new product that, back to what Matt mentioned, trying to make your life easier from an installation standpoint and product selection standpoint. This new XFS-CV drip line. This basically combines the check valve capability that our current XFS-CV has with the subsurface capability of XFS into a single new product called XFS-CV. And I'm going to take us off on a little tangent here and just kind of have some fun. But here's a couple pictures, and I'm going to relate these pictures to this new drip line. Kind of think about what maybe these two pictures might have in common, other than the fact that they're both LA teams and both sports teams, and what the heck do they have to do with Dripline, especially our new XFS-CV. The first thing to consider is that a goalpost in the professional football world is 10 feet high. The standard height for a goalpost is 10 feet. Maybe some of you are thinking, trying to perhaps already figuring out what this has to do with Dripline. Another standard in the sports world is the height of a basketball rim is 10 feet high as well. So those both of these pictures have that in common. The standard height of the goalpost, 10 feet. Standard height of a basketball rim is 10 feet as well. What the heck does this have to do with XFS-CV? Well, XFS-CV has the highest holdback in the industry. Using XFS-CV, you can actually hold the drip line grid, like in the picture that Matt shared with us earlier. If that was on this slope, for example, you could actually hold back in the drip line grid 10 feet of gravity, essentially, or 10 feet of holdback, so that the lowest emitter in this application is not going to drain. The entire grid stays charged with water, allowing the avoidance of, for example, if the emitter was somewhere along the sidewalk here, imagine turning off this valve and all that water draining out at the low point and then flooding the sidewalk. So you end up with more even distribution of water. As soon as you turn the valve on, even the highest emitter, way down here perhaps, is going to start emitting immediately when the zone turns on because the drip line grid stays charged with water. So that's what these have in common. XFS-CV holds back 10 feet. And by the way, I spent a lot of time on Google trying to figure out how can I get the LA Dodgers included in this page, and I couldn't find anything on a baseball diamond that was 10 feet, a standard of 10 feet. So if anybody finds something, please let me know, because I'd love to include the Dodgers here, especially when they will win the World Series here in the next game. So I'm working on that, and I need some help from you guys. Appreciate it. So again, XFS-CV drip line. It uses pure copper. If you had to remember three things about this new product, it uses pure copper to protect each of the emitters from root intrusion, and I'll show you what that looks like in a little bit. As I said, it has 10 feet of holdback, so it can hold up to 10 feet of elevation without draining from the lowest emitter, highest in the industry. And as Matt mentioned, it's an all-in-one drip line. It allows you to put really a single coil on the truck or a single product on the truck, and whether your team is installing a subsurface job, maybe in a street median, or going on surface flat, it'll work in both applications. It'll work in a sloped environment as well, because it has the check valves, and you're kind of taken care of regardless of the challenge that you might be facing with the day's installation. So pure copper root intrusion, highest holdback, all-in-one drip line. This is just a snapshot of what's available as far as the different versions of XFS-CV drip line. I just wanted to point out we have 0.6 and 0.9 today. 0.4 will be available in just a few more weeks here and sometime in December, so we'll have that also to fill out the primary three flow rates, 0.4, 0.6, and 0.9. Spacing available, 12 and 18 as a standard spacing. I'll talk about some custom things we can do in the next slide. And then in addition to 100 and 500, which is typical for Rainbird, we also offer XFS-CV in 250-foot coils as well. And then colors, the primary color of the product is copper color. The tubing is copper, so that you know that it has the copper shield root intrusion protection, just like our XFS drip line has. But we also offer, of course, for recycled water applications, a purple and as well a purple stripe. We've seen increasing interest in the purple stripe instead of the full purple tubing, so we have that available for you as well. I promised to mention that we have some custom capability, not only for XFS-CV, but for all of our drip line. There's a lot of information on this page, but if I could just have you focus on the lower left-hand corner, this is an example of some flexibility that Rainbird has and that we make available to you for special jobs. If, for example, you have a very large, we'll use the street median application again. Imagine that you have miles of street median that you're working on. And you have regular plantings in that median. Maybe it's a group of plants separated by 5 feet and in the same configuration. We can actually create a special drip line for that application or any application like that, where we do what we call group spacing. So imagine you have 3 emitters that are separated by 12 inches apiece, and then you want 5 feet between the next group. We can do this for you. Use your imagination. Let us know what you need, and with this flexibility, we might be able to save you a lot of time. And kind of back to that estimating and bidding projects, if you know that you're not going to be splicing and coupling a lot of drip line together with blank tubing because Rainbird's has this custom capability, it might allow you to either A, improve your estimating, or B, improve your profitability on a project, knowing you're going to be saving a lot of time and labor with a custom drip line. So reach out to Matt if you want more detail. We can do very special spacing. Just let us know. Mixed spacing, different coil lengths, and the variable colors that you might need, including that purple stripe. So just please keep that in mind, and we'll work with you to see if we can save you some time and money at the job site. So back to XFS-CV drip line. This is the emitter. I've taken the emitter on the right-hand side and I've exploded it into its pieces. What you see is 4 different pieces, including one of the most important pieces up here, this copper chip. This is that copper shield technology that's installed on the top of the emitter. For example, if you looked into the emitter hole and you angled the drip line just right, you could actually see that copper chip inside. That's there to protect that emitter from root intrusion. I wanted to take you through kind of the process of and so you understand how this drip line works, this new drip line works, and this emitter works, and all these pieces function together. So let's start off. Imagine that the zone is off, and you turn the zone on. So the valve opens up. The drip line grid that Matt showed you in that earlier slide is pressurized now. What happens is that as the pressure increases, when it gets to roughly 14 psi, water starts to flow out of this new emitter. And it will continue to flow throughout the drip line from a pressure of 14.5 all the way up to 60 psi. We suggest not exceeding 60 psi because you're going to start blowing out fittings and so on in the drip line grid. So the flow starts to occur at 14.5 psi. Plants are getting the water they need. And then let's talk about what happens when the valve turns off. And this is where the check valve really performs and provides a lot of value for you and your customers. So when the valve turns off, pressure in the drip line falls very quickly. There's some additional water that is leaking out of the emitters, but very quickly the pressure drops within the drip line. And when the pressure gets down to 4.3 psi, the check valve in each emitter closes, and it allows the drip line to stay charged with water. Let me show you a video about regarding what's actually happening. So what I've done, I've taken apart the drip emitter. We're looking at a close-up of each individual emitter in the drip line. We have 3 pieces here. You don't see the copper; it's up on top here. But this is the diaphragm in the middle, and then 2 plastic pieces on both sides of it. And now we're inside the drip line, and let me try that again. Right here is the check valve. So water is entering the emitter, and as I said, when the zone turns on and the pressure builds up to 14.5 psi, this check valve right here, see how it opened up? Water now is flowing from inside the tube through the emitter. So it's entering the emitter. It pushed the pressure, opened up the check valve, which is right here. Water now is flowing into the body of the emitter and outside to the plant. So we're just going to let this run. Again, we're inside the tube right now. Water's flowing through the emitter. Everything's great. This is an example where this new XFS-CV drip line can be installed on slopes up to 10 feet tall. But what happens when the valve turns off? So I want you to pay attention. Again, we have water flowing in from inside the tube through the valve, the check valve. Again, this is every emitter in the drip line has this capability. Through this part of the emitter, by the way, which determines the flow rate, whether it's 0.4, 0.6, or 0.9, and out to the plant. Keep an eye on the check valve here. I'm going to shut the valve off, and you're going to see that the valve's actually going to close. Here it goes. Here, come on, here it goes. There we go. So you can see the check valve is closed. We've isolated the water inside the tube from the outside world. The plants are out here. We've totally closed it off. This is what keeps the drip line charged with water and allows us to avoid wasting water and having the entire grid drain out at the lowest point. I also wanted to mention down here at the bottom, it's an important point, that XFS-CV, when that check valve closes, it also protects the drip line from what we call siphoning, or it provides an anti-siphon protection. In other words, grit is not pulled in to the drip line through the emitter into the tube, and which could clog the emitter and of course eventually render it completely closed, and plants are going to die. So this check valve capability not only keeps the drip line full of water and saves water and avoids a mess at the bottom of the slope, but also avoids grit being pulled back in, especially in subsurface applications. So there's a lot of capability that you gain when you have that check valve in every emitter with the XFS-CV. And I promise to come back and talk a little bit more about the copper chip. So not only do we have this highest holdback, 10 feet of holdback with the check valve, but we also have root intrusion protection with XFS-CV. This is from the copper chip. Copper's been known for hundreds of years, actually, as a means to stop roots from growing. It's been used in root barriers. It's used in the nursery industry. It's even used on ship hulls to avoid marine growth. So the same functionality that's been known for many years, Rainbird has a patent on the use of a pure copper chip in a drip line emitter, and we've deployed it in this new XFS-CV as well. But basically, as a root grows closer to the emitter opening and closer to this copper chip, the root tip interacts with the copper itself that's slowly emitted from the copper chip, and it stops the root from growing. The tip of the root actually is impacted by this copper, by the presence of copper, and growth stops. It doesn't kill the root, it doesn't kill the plant, but it stops the root from growing. So again, Rainbird has the patent on using it in drip line. It's a safe, just like copper, we drink water from copper pipes. The plants it's a safe way to avoid root intrusion without the use of chemicals and herbicides. So that's also available in the XFS-CV drip line. To sum it all up, we have a lot of confidence in this product, and in addition to our current warranties that are available in all of our drip line, the 5 and 7 years, with XFS-CV, we now offer a 16-year root intrusion protection warranty as well. We are standing behind the Copper Shield technology, and for 16 years we'll warrant the product from root intrusion protection as a result. Longest in the industry and very unique for this product. Matt already talked about this. The only thing I want to mention, Matt already went through all of the various elements of a drip grid system, but as Matt mentioned, with XFS-CV, the air relief valve and the valve box that's used to house it is no longer necessary. So you're saving, again, from a bidding and estimating standpoint, you no longer need to include the air relief valve when you're using XFS-CV drip line. Because the drip stays charged with water, it doesn't need an air relief valve to replace the water as it drains. So not only is it saving you and your end users water and avoiding that mess at the low spot, but saving the cost and labor of installing an air relief valve. So just to summarize, really some other benefits that and some of which we haven't talked about. As Matt mentioned, this XFS-CV drip line is the all-in-one drip line for surface, subsurface, sloped, and flat applications. It's a drip line that can be used one drip line for all job sites. So that makes the selection quick and easy, avoids fewer mistakes, and as I said, no need for air relief valves. So it's also saving you time and money at the job site. And then again, with the copper shield technology, the XFS-CV drip line should result in fewer, hopefully no callbacks. Again, with that root intrusion protection. And by the way, let me just mention that not only in subsurface applications do you really need to have a very capable root intrusion avoidance mechanism like our copper shield, but also even on surface in a damp environment that's covered a drip line grid that's covered with mulch. We've all seen it where mulch breaks down over time, that plant roots start growing through the decomposing mulch. I've seen plenty of examples where roots have grown into a surface drip line that didn't have any root intrusion protection. So knowing that you have, whether it's subsurface or not, that root intrusion protection built into XFS-CV drip line should reduce callbacks as a result of root intrusion. As I mentioned, the check valve, that up on that slope here that you can see in the image in the background here, remember that emitter that's furthest away from the valve box is going to start emitting as soon as the valve turns on, because the drip line grid is charged with water due to the check valves. So more uniform watering that's capable and available with the XFS-CV drip line means that plants are going to be healthier. That plant that's up at the top of the slope is going to get the right amount of water, just like the plant at the bottom of the slope. And by the way, remember that if your drip line grid is not draining after every cycle, every irrigation cycle, if it was draining, the plants at the bottom of the slope are going to be over irrigated. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a swamp somewhere, where the lowest emitters are. Those plants are going to perhaps even die because they're overwatered. So again, fewer callbacks because the irrigation system either is, your end user might think it's leaking, something's not working right. Knowing that you have very uniform irrigation with the check valve drip line is going to help out as well from a callback avoidance. I'm just going to quickly compare. Here's XFS-CV drip line. As I mentioned, we're the only ones that have proven root intrusion protection via the copper chip, the pure copper chip. It's important to remember the need for pure copper. It's the most effective non-chemical or non-herbicide way to deliver root intrusion protection. Down here, Toro DL2000 has a subsurface drip line, but it uses chemicals. It uses a herbicide that in some cases has been banned because it's known to be a carcinogen. The material used in the Toro DL2000 has been banned in Europe for that reason. I mentioned already the highest holdback in the industry with 10 feet available from XFS-CV, big check mark there. Rainbird XFS-CV has the standard flow rates, 0.4, 0.6, and 0.9 gallons per hour. There's a Netafim drip line that has very different flow rates that make life difficult from a design and zone runtime calculation standpoint. Rainbird XFS-CV has a low profile emitter, delivers long run lengths, not available from the HCV XR. And we've just like all of our products, we take pride in delivering a drip line that's very flexible. We use a resin recipe or combination that provides a very flexible drip line, which means you're using fewer fittings. It's just a lot easier to work with at the job site, especially on a morning like today when it was pretty cool. You've got that flexibility that you're not fighting all day long at the job site. And then one of the last slides here I wanted to emphasize that Matt mentioned as well is that when you're estimating and bidding a project, when you think about the ability to use products like this QF header that Matt mentioned. This is the QF header that replaces the PVC, all the cutting and gluing and measuring. And Matt didn't mention, but it's also flexible. So if your job site has hardscapes with a lot of curves, trying to estimate how much time it's going to take to build a PVC header or exhaust that accommodates those curves, you can actually predict very easily how long it's going to take to roll out this very flexible header, this QF header. So just, it reduces the variability that might be in place when you're having to build PVC headers, depending on how many curves, etc. So just helps out. But think about that drip system, that drip grid as a system. The heart of the system being the Dripline XFS-CV, the all-in-one drip line. Very important, as Matt mentioned, to manage your water source with filtration and pressure regulation. But even some of the less interesting products, we'll say, the fittings. And this is also another device here that might reduce callbacks. This is called our operation indicator. You plug this into the drip line. It's got a self-piercing quarter-inch barb at the end. But basically, it allows your end users to know that the drip system is working without having to, when they don't see a spray, they don't see a rotor, they don't hear it working, but they can actually see this pop up when the drip grid is pressurized. So just another element of a total drip system, all of these products available from Rainbird. Rainbird, by the way, is unique in our ability to provide a full solution set when it comes to a drip irrigation system. Matt already mentioned this, so I'm going to skip through it, and I'm going to end my talk, but we're going to open it up for questions. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mike to give you a summary of the Imperial capabilities in Southern and Northern California.
Hey, thanks everybody, and Rick and Matt, thank you. That was great information. Appreciate you sharing that. I won't keep you too long. I just wanted to share, an overview of our locations throughout California. Northern California on the left there, and on the right, Southern California, quote departments in both regions. Really, no matter where your job is, we have a full fleet of delivery trucks, all different sizes, that are dedicated to servicing your needs promptly and accurately. So I just wanted to again say thank you to Rainbird for sharing this information. I hope everybody found it helpful. Again, if you have questions, you can share them now while Rick and Matt are still with us. If not, feel free to reach out to them directly, or you can call any one of our offices. If we can't answer your specific Rainbird question, we'll absolutely get you the answer. So again, thank you, and also just a reminder to everybody, and a thank you to everybody that was on the webinar for the entirety will receive a $10 gift card compliments of Rainbird. So thank you for that. That's for you for taking your time, and hopefully you'll learn something that will that you can bring to your business operations and add some value. So Matt or Rick, do you have any last comments before we sign off?
No, I just want to again emphasize that if you do face a unique challenge when it comes to Dripline, to get a hold of Mike, your local Imperial branch, who can then reach out to us as well. And consider that custom program. If we can save you time and money at the job site by customizing a Dripline, let's talk.
All right. Thank you, guys, and thank you for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us. It's a little past 4 o'clock. Thanks for allowing us to go a little bit over. And with that, I'm going to let you have the rest of your day back, and we're going to conclude this webinar. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.